and welcome to another episode of I Heard You When You Said. It is me. All of me. Encanto. You didn't know that, did you? And partner in crime, the woman I didn't know I was supposed to be scared of, Stacey Hansen. Here, ready to do another amazing trick on the podcast today. Actually, not a trick, a trip down memory lane.
Oh, which will be a trip. Scumbag trip.
Quite a trip. And just so you guys know, we are purposefully, intentionally slowing down the pace at which we do these podcasts. So our plan is to put out no less than a podcast a month, potentially 2 podcasts a month, right? So between 1 and 2 is our current cadence. We're going to start bringing on more guests so that we can get some different perspectives of people that we don't personally know, people who have different experiences in different areas. I've even changed the description of our podcast to fit now what we do, right? We're not just 2 friends talking anymore. We're still 2 friends talking and starting and doing a business and doing life and all that together.
It's good to know. I was scared for a second.
But it's more than that, right?
It has evolved.
Yes, it's evolved into its storytelling. It's helping women with that all or nothing mentality. It's talking about how it impacts the body, right? We're still doing the things that we've been doing, and we have more of a targeted approach to it now. And we're going to start bringing on people who are influencing that conversation in other ways too, and some people who aren't. It's not going to be this a pigeonhole of a podcast. The point being is we want to speak to the people who listen to this the most frequently. And those people are generally your 35 to 65-year-old female who struggles with that all or nothing mentality, that anxiousness, that overwhelm, likely has a family, all of those type of things, and wants practical things that she can do for her mind, for her body, for her life, those type of things. And so we have the higher level conversations and we have the practical applications, right? The things that you can actually practice through our lens.
You know what I'm thinking?
What's that?
When we started, this was I Heard You When You Said.
Right.
And the whole title came from conversations between us of hearing each other when we said, which is still very true. Played out yesterday beautifully. And now it's evolved to we heard you, the yous that listen, and the yous of our clients, and the yous of the pain points that are out there. And we heard you when you said, and we're bringing that conversation here as well to the things that the industry isn't talking about, a perspective that isn't shared. And I love that it evolved that way. It was like in everything. It started with you and I, and has grown so much, and we've grown.
Yep.
What I think is amazing is that as we look back on old episodes, is what we were talking about a year and a half ago is still what we're talking about now. Now we have so much more space and clarity and communicate it better than we ever did previously. When you were introducing the podcast, I was waiting for you to go, I'm Justino. And I was like,
I have done that before.
You have done that before, and then subsequently called me your partner in crime, which is not a title you throw out very often. And so it's beautiful to have this walk down memory lane of we have a privilege of having the totality of our relationship documented. Yeah. So,
I mean, we even have one of the first 5 podcasts, 2 of the first 5 podcasts are about friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause that's what we started as in terms of, things we were talking about. So today we're going to take a little walk down the fitness memory lane and go through our separate and, slightly in this last couple years together fitness journeys for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's valuable to know where we started from a relatability standpoint, because I'm positive 100% positive that there is a contingent of people, a large contingent of people who listen to this podcast who can relate to where you've been, right? As a woman in, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it was, right? Not that they can't relate to me. My experience is going to be slightly different because I don't have the same, biological makeup. So,
oh my gosh.
Hey, I mean, what is a woman? We'll get into that. Or we won't. Whatever. It's our podcast. We can do what we want. So the biggest thing that I'm looking for people to take away from this is common experiences for you and interesting takeaways from both of us, where because I can imagine that people look at me now and think that I've always been this way because I've been this way for close to a third of my life now, right? I mean, I've been this way for a large majority of the last 10 years.
Yeah, I was going for 10.
Prior to that, I wasn't even fully, I was just going through puberty. I wasn't even fully developed yet. Still not fully developed. I still get a little squeak in there every now and then.
The frontal lobe isn't fully developed till 21, 25. I'm so glad I got you after.
And we love storytelling. So why not mix the two, right? So
how would we like to ping pong this? Because my story is a little longer.
Just a smidge. Do you want to tell everybody that you just recently had a birthday?
I did recently have a birthday. I turned.
And what ripe, beautiful age did you turn?
49.
49.
I don't know what 49 is supposed to feel like. But I am 49, so I guess it feels like this.
Hey, I'm turning 31 in
a week, a little bit more.
No, what's today? The 20th of June, the 7th. So 3 weeks.
3 weeks,
something like that. In less than a month.
The 7th.
June the 7th. Yeah.
I don't know why I keep thinking your birthday is the 6th. Okay. One extra day of holding your gift.
6 is the month. 7 is the day. Yeah, 6, 7.
Okay, gotcha. So do we want to do this by decade? Because my journey.
By decade. My story is going to be very short. My story is going to be 30 seconds long.
Yes, we'll start.
Oh Lord! If this podcast gets interrupted, it's going to get interrupted by the other thing that only took me 30 seconds. My second child, Blakely Harrison Carroll. She's on the clock today. She's coming
Let's see if we can get this done today.
Any day now.
I'm gonna work on that. Let's see if we can get this done today.
Oh, can we get this done today?
We're gonna get the podcast and Blakely.
Oh,
today.
Okay.
Yeah, if your wife hangs out with me this afternoon,
be a lot cooler if you did.
Yeah, we'll see. She says yes to me. She really says no to me.
Okay,
so involved.
I believe that you going first would be the most valuable, at least to get it rolling would be the most valuable thing because number one, most people listening to this podcast are going to fall under your common demographic, and I can ask you some more pointed questions. So to get this started, let's categorize this. I do not, negation acknowledge, want to start with where did I first see and start learning what fitness was, right? Because you've told some of that story before, right? That was the 8-year-old Zumba class my mom did, stuff like that. I want to know, when did you start as either an adolescent or young adult purposefully trying to make a change to your body? Like you saw yourself in the mirror and was like, oh, I've got to lose weight. Or you saw something and you're like, oh, I need to go eat something different, do something different.
I was in high school.
Okay.
My friend, Kathy Gibson, she's not Kathy Gibson anymore. We had to be 15. I believe we were 15 because we would ditch school and we had the same Spanish teacher, Senor Thron, and he would call me Senorita Klein and her Senorita Gibson, the beachgoers, because we would ditch school and come back tan because we laid out at the pool. Our parents didn't know. And that's how we were referred to, AP Spanish. So when you speak to me in Spanish, I can mostly understand.
Dang, AP Spanish. Okay, I see you out here
stunting. All these things. Proximity.
I didn't know they had AP class back in the 1900s.
Settle. So it was the time of Thai Bo, and you can bring the story in.
Billy Blanks, baby.
Yeah. So I would do that, and I need to drink a lot of water. And my mom had one of the original, I'm going to call them the Airdyne bikes, that they were so ghetto. It was metal and it had a fan, and I'm sure you could decapitate somebody with it used inappropriately.
Did the hands move on it
the
too?
hands moved in the fans, and it was metal with a horrible like bicycle seat, and
yeah, it was
horrible. And I would do Thai Bo, and I would use that and drink so much water I'd lay on the floor and feel it all gush, because I knew you were supposed to drink a lot of water, and eat cookie dough for dinner.
Like raw cookie dough.
Oh, we would make cookies almost every day. We'd walk to the corner store, get everything we needed, and then work out.
Oh, did you make the dough yourself though? Yes, it wasn't like prepackaged. Like, okay.
No. That's what we would eat. We had cookie dough for dinner. I was very healthy. And so that started at 15. And I look back at my 15-year-old body. I'm like, you were delusional. And that was really when it started that I became aware. The bigger shift happened when I moved from LA to Huntington Beach, which nobody looked like me. So
in what way?
Well, I grew up in a demographic where white was the minority. So, and it legitimately was. And then I moved to an area that was completely white with no diversity. Everybody was blonde haired, blue eyed, and tiny, and I didn't fit in. And so it became much more apparent how different there was no ethnicity. So they definitely didn't know what to do with Jewish girl. Like, seriously, Jewish girl with curly hair that I lied and told people that my dad was black because I could dance, and they'd leave me alone. And they believed that until my very Jewish dad showed up at high school graduation and was not black. I was graduating. It didn't matter. I never saw most of those people again. So then it became, did I want to be a cheerleader, and what did I need to do to cheer? And I was built differently. And I had a friend who was a runner. She was legitimately on cross country team. And so when she would run, I would rollerblade. And I just knew that my body was never good enough. I didn't look like all if you've ever seen Huntington Beach, like picture the OC. Did you watch that show, the OC?
I mean, I've seen it before.
Like, it's a beach town. Blonde, tiny, blue-eyed. This is not that. At my leanest, I don't know that I'll ever be described as tiny. Whatever our leanest gets to, I don't think that'll ever be the way you describe me.
Sure.
So, or anybody will. And so I became really aware. So it was, how much could I rollerblade? And I was mindful of what I ate. But the pressure of that really didn't come until wanting to, when I got close to getting married, and then wanting to fit into my wedding dress, and became one of.
Which was how old?
22.
Okay. So you were 16 back then, 22 now at this point. Okay.
Yeah. Just trying to look good in my wedding dress. And I believe this is accurate. That at 20, I even went to a medical weight loss facility to get on phentermine, because I thought I was so fat at a whole 185 that I went on phentermine and got down to 135. Yeah, so that was the early 20s.
Dang.
And didn't sustain it.
You must have looked sick at 135.
People
sickly, not like,
yeah, not
sick.
Amazing sick. No. No, me at 135 is not attractive.
Is that what you needed to do to fit into the wedding dress?
No, I gained weight back after getting down to 135 and then worked out.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah. I have a picture. Those collarbones were definitely visible at 135. And the point of the story is, there was no weight that was enough that made me feel confident. And that was the foundation that led to the future generations. So, yeah. So put weight back on after I got married. Then I can't remember. I think I got back up to 185 again because that was so, unacceptable.
So you got married at 22.
Got married at 22.
When did you have Nathan?
24.
Okay.
So somewhere around 22, and then I went and did Lindora, which was B12 shots, and because I gained 20 pounds back, which was so abysmal.
Yeah.
Abysmal.
Pathetic. I mean, how could you?
How could I? You've seen my wedding picture. Abysmal, right?
In the words of Valley Girls, gag me with a spoon.
Gag me with a spoon. So spent a lot of money doing that and barely eating and testing ketones and walking 10, 12, 13,000 steps a day. My husband would do that with me every night and all of that, and went straight from getting down to another 165, 155 to getting pregnant with Nathan, and then gained 80 pounds. They thought I might have gestational diabetes then. Shocking. That's a story.
And they didn't say yes or no?
It was borderline. Borderline, so they didn't do anything about it. And I was too young to know, what I had done to go from ketosis to nothing but carbs that everybody else. So I went from this well-oiled machine to morning sickness and carbs, and couldn't understand why my body put so much weight on. That's weird.
Awesome.
This version of Stacey would have instructed the younger version of Stacey different. So we could pause there of then what postpartum looked like. But that was the foundation of where the story began. Really at 16, I became super aware. I was thrown into an environment where I didn't fit in and thought that my weight was the thing that was going to make me fit in. And I wasn't built like those girls then. Always had a chest. So there was no hiding, even though I tried to.
So a lot of back and forth and not a lot of education.
No
along
education.
The way.
Ted and I had this conversation the other night. That I thought milk was dinner, that a glass of milk was acceptable for dinner. And he'd be like, "What'd you have for dinner?" And I said, "A glass of milk." He's like, "Milk is not dinner." What's for me?
I mean, it had some good stuff in it, hopefully.
I mean, 12 and, walking out. The point is, up until now, 49, have not ever been content with my body.
Right.
So I always tried to control it, manipulate it, whatever. That was the first 2 days.
What I think is interesting to point out there too, because it'll be a stark difference from my story, is the environment in which you were raised, right? So once you move high schools to Orange County, right, to a place where there was a standard look, there was a expectation to some degree, an unspoken but very loud expectation that this is what people look like who go to the beach here, right, or who go to this event here, or parties here, or hang out here, or whatever it is, right? Like, you're in that environment where everybody there's a common look to women, to men, to whatever. I liken it to Miami, right? It's like, when you go to Miami, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What people are there to do, right? Like, you're going to see a certain type of person be attracted to that because it is common culture. I think back to when I first became a personal trainer here, when we opened up the Equinox. We had a trainer from Miami, a higher level trainer from the Miami locations, come and help us open up the club to be, a mentor to us as beginning trainers. And one of Equinox's sayings is, "It's not fitness, it's life." Okay, that's like their tagline. And he goes, "Well, in Miami, it's not fitness, it's vanity, because everybody hires a trainer just to say they have a trainer, because everybody has a trainer down there. Everybody's doing something to look skinnier down there, or whatever it is down there. And so it's all a facade to some degree, right? And there's very little principle to it." So I'm saying there's a lot that has to do with the lack of education because of the environment. Why would you be educated? Because I don't know that. I don't know what they did. That nobody's talking about what they do to look like this. Half of them are like that because they're still young and don't eat, right? And I didn't grow up like that, and I'm built different, and I do like to eat. So how do I like to eat and then do something and still lose weight? It looks like these medications or whatever.
Well, even from an ethnicity standard, when white is the minority, other ethnicities celebrate plumpness.
Right.
Like, that is how beauty is defined. Like, a woman is defined by her curves.
Mm-hmm.
And so to go from an environment where the cultural norms shifted, we're talking about an hour and a half drive from safety, security. Like, people weren't getting, there was no fences at my high school in Huntington Beach. There was no metal detectors. People weren't getting stabbed at school. There was no drive-by shootings. And then go from a culture that was so starkly different, and beauty was what was so celebrated, and it was what you would see on TV.
Yeah.
So if you go to your early formative high school, we'll go high school. We started at 16. Can we start at 16?
Yeah. I don't have much before that. I don't have much that I can speak to before that. So, I mean, I was raised on the farm in a small town of less than 3,000 people, less than 2,500 likely. And I was raised outside of that town. That's just where I went to school. And again, mostly, like, there was a small minority of white people. So went to school with mostly black people. And everybody, no matter what color you were, everybody where I went to school was raised in the country. I mean, even if you lived in town, you weren't like, it wasn't like a big city, right? It's still a country town. And so everybody is used to eating home style cooking, right? I mean, I don't remember being around very many people who were raised on like microwave dinners. Like mostly everybody, now that I'm thinking about it, looking back, had some aspect of home cooking and at their disposal, right? Now, if it was lower income, maybe the where it came from was a little bit different. Like, I don't know. That wasn't our situation. What I'm saying is most people did revere cooking it yourself, because I remember us, like, there would even be like conversations about that, like people going over to cookouts and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so 16, 17. So it would have been about I would have been 17-ish. The summer after my junior year in high school, so I grew up as a chubbier kid than the rest of my friends. So I was probably roughly 10, maybe 20 pounds heavier than the people that I hung out with. For the most part, there were some people that were more chubby than me. I mean, I wasn't like, overly fat by any means, but I definitely wasn't the fit kid, right? Going up like chubbier through middle school and into early high school. The summer after my junior year, we got a different high school football coach, young guy. His name's Coach Sane. Still very good friends with him and his wife and his family today. And he was young and full of fire, and I think it was his first head coaching job in this small town that he actually grew up not too far away from. Originally had come to Texas to coach and then came back. And he was like, all right, we're going to do this differently, right? We're going to have a full off-season program. We're going to lift weights in the summer, right? You're going to earn the right to put your name on the back of your jersey, which is a big deal in our, he literally had it stitched on the back of our jersey. If you had so many days in the weight room over the course of the summer, obviously your grades had to be up and your discipline, like you had to, not get in trouble and things like that. So there was a standard to be met to have that. So you could be in the crowd and be like, this person has their name on the back, this person does not, right? That type of thing. And so I think he called it the Tiger Club or the Black and Gold Club. We were black and gold was our school colors. Tiger was our mascot. And so I remember that was the first time I had specifically done any type of like regimented training program. Okay. And this is before I knew anything about food. I didn't know anything about food. I was just eating whatever mama cooked. Right. And he still has jokes about that today. Like, because the women of the community would be who would feed the football team before the games. They would sign up to do this on a volunteer basis. Otherwise it would be, making sandwiches or something. Right. And so my mom would cook vats of chicken spaghetti, green beans, and rolls. And Coach Sane was like, dude, we cannot have these kids going out here with a belly full of chicken spaghetti, no matter how good it is.
Okay, what is chicken spaghetti?
Okay, chicken spaghetti is like, do you know what Rotel chicken is?
Rotel in a can?
Yeah, so I mean, it's made with Rotel. We just called it that. So chicken spaghetti is spaghetti noodles, chicken, some Rotel, like diced tomatoes and things of that nature, and cream of, I think it's cream of mushroom.
Okay.
That's in there, and some actual mushrooms as well. So it's like a casserole dish of like creamy chicken, creamy cheesy chicken with spaghetti noodles mixed in. Okay,
cool. Yeah,
so
got it.
Can feed a bulk of people, right? It's a potluck style thing, and so chicken spaghetti, rolls, green beans, maybe some salad, whatever. So we would have, I mean, we would eat good before the football games when mom was feeding us. So that style of eating is what I grew up around, and we, anyway, so we would go, I did the training program or did the days in the summer like I needed to. We'd do 2-a-days in football. And that was the first time I had ever really lost an amount of weight where I could, and paid attention to where I could tell a difference. Like, oh, I don't look the same and I weigh different. Growing up in high school, I didn't check my weight. Like, I really don't know how much I weighed in high school, somewhere between like 200 and 220 pounds on average. Right. And so that was my first beginning, like, oh, like this is what people mean when they say lifting weights. Like, this is what people mean when they say like in the weight room. I had been in a weight room before, but not on a program, not like that, not in any kind of series. So the summer after that, I graduated high school. Summer after that, I went and got P90X.
Oh, yeah.
P90X with Tony Horton.
Oh yeah,
Beachbody, baby. And I know nothing about Beachbody. All I knew was there was commercials of P90X, Tony Horton, whatever. And my mom grew up doing like workouts via videotape, and so she joined me on some of these things and some of these workouts with Tony, right? When she listens to this, she's gonna laugh so hard. I still remember one of the videos because he would like say these like silly little phrases when you were doing things, and he would be like, you would like reach down and pick up a dumbbell, and then you would reach up like you're gonna cross your body like this. And so from like down to the left and up to the right, he goes, we got to get these apples to New York City. Put these apples on the truck. We got to get these apples to New York City or something like that. And mom would just shake her head. Because, growing up on the farm, we weren't around vegetables, but it was funny that he would use little phrases like that. So everything I did was at home after that. I just graduated high school. I wasn't up in like a high school weight room. We didn't really have any weights at home. And that was the first summer that I actually did buy an adjustable amount, like some adjustable dumbbells that you can dial to do those different weights, those Bowflex ones. Mm-hmm. My mom still has them to this day. I bought them off of somebody on Facebook Marketplace to use at home during the summer.
We didn't have Facebook Marketplace when I was in high school.
Well, there you go. So P90X, doing all this, sweating my ass off in my bedroom / living room, whatever, on DVDs. It's like a DVD set, all that kind of stuff. And had gotten some, again, still not really paying attention to the food, really, just had gotten down some in weight and figured out what moving my body felt like on a consistent basis, right? And I was doing some like, I'm looking back on it, like I was likely not prepared or moving very well at all for what that was. So that was summer after my senior year. I go to college. I carried that with me and actually upgraded to Insanity with Shaun T. Shaun T, baby.
I love me, Shaun T.
You love Shaun T. Hey, Shaun T still Shaun T still got it going on. Yeah, the dude's still ripped, and he's like what? He's got to be 60 something.
Yeah. I think he might be closer to 65. No, he's jacked right now.
So anyway, Insanity with Shaun T, baby. I then upgraded from P90X to Shaun T. By the way, I did do the 90 days. I did do all of P90X. First time, or second time I'd ever completed a program like that. So took Insanity to college. I was used to doing things like on my own on a video or whatever by that point. So took Insanity to college. And started rushing a fraternity, and that sleep schedule and food schedule was totally different than anything I'd ever been exposed to. So I did drop a fair amount of weight when I was pledging the fraternity, not for like crazy unhealthy reasons. We were just so busy. There would be times, and I was still trying to do insanity when I could and whatever. There would just be times that I just didn't eat, or didn't eat that much, or didn't think about eating.
I can't even imagine that version of you now.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, since you have snacks on the ready, don't think I wasn't on whatever you were eating earlier. And so there was this big hill behind my dorm room, this giant hill in Fayetteville. It's super hilly anyway, but this giant hill. And I still remember when I was a freshman, and I would do some insanity every once in a while. After it had lost its kind of initial flair or whatever, that I would go run that hill, like basically as many times as I could until I was just done, like until I was just like, oh, that's enough, feels like enough today, right? It was that kind of thing. And so again, still conscious of my weight ish at that point in time, but I wasn't really too concerned about the weight. It was just like, did I look good in these clothes or whatever? Because we were starting to go to parties and we had suits to fit in because we were pledges. We had to wear suits on certain days and stuff of that, things of that nature. So that was 20. That would have been up to 22 ish. Yeah, 21, 22 ish. And the summer after my freshman year, I walked into a CrossFit gym for the first time. And whole different spectrum of things I was not exposed to or growing up. I remember the first time I still know this, like I say know of him. He might know who I am now. His name was Jake Carreri. He was he was the head coach in the gym that I worked at this CrossFit gym. I walked in. Dude had his shirt off. He had just got done working out, and he was getting ready to start coaching the next class, the class I was coming to, or whatever, the foundations course. I don't know what it was. And I was like, I can keep up with this guy. Like, this guy is ripped, bro. Like, and mind you, this guy was the fittest man in Arkansas the next year after this. Like, out of all the people who submitted a CrossFit score in Arkansas that next year, he was the top. So he was high level. He was high level in the CrossFit, like at that point in time. And so I was like, what in the world is this? What in the world am I doing? And I'd gotten exposed to it through Paige the summer before. She had done it a little bit at home, and she did it a little bit that summer when she took some like summer classes that are there in Fayetteville. So I was like, okay, I'll go to this other location. It's close to where I live and try it out. I remember the first time he had me squat to a medicine ball, because that was the standard at the CrossFit gym, is to be able to touch, butt to the medicine ball. And I could not, like, I'd be bottomed. I'd basically just be sitting on it, right? I wasn't squatting anymore. And he was like, okay, well, that's your standard, right? We got some work to do or whatever. He wasn't mean about it or anything. It was just like, hey, this is what we do here. This is how we evaluate and we can build from here, right? And so I started going to CrossFit. Saw a girl drinking some First Form Formula One, some like loop-de-fruit or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had like a shiny label on whatever. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'd never seen that before. I'd only been exposed to a little bit of supplementation, maybe some protein powders or creatine or something. So I go to the supplement store, buy some, start looking at First Form stuff. I'm speeding up the story a little bit. And they had some nutrition education on either their website or maybe back when they started doing the transformation challenges about one of the things was no high fructose corn syrup. So literally I started telling my mom, hey, whenever I come home for the summer, don't cook anything, don't use anything that has high fructose corn syrup in it. That was the very first thing I started with in nutrition, like high fructose corn syrup. That was a no-no. That was a bad. I can still stand by that today. Hey, we don't want to hammer out on high fructose corn syrup. Okay. So it was the first thing, and she was like, okay, I'll start looking. So, and I bet she, again, gonna laugh at this. She's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. No high fructose corn syrup in the ingredients, and that's where we started, making a change with the food. But yeah, so that was it to, I don't know, the summer after. We're probably at 23-ish now in my journey. So pretty tame up to this point.
All right, I'll jump back in. There wasn't really anything in my childbearing years that I can remember. I was gained weight 80 pounds with Nathan. think I took, 50 off before we had Joshua, but there was no, I didn't try to take, I wasn't doing anything. There was nothing. There was nothing intentional. Did I like my weight? No. And I remember then when I got pregnant with Jonathan, that I was like, this is a new high. And I was so embarrassed. You will laugh at this. How I know this is because when I went to go deliver Jonathan, I was 250 pounds. And I'm like, I can't believe. Watch how the story plays out. I can't believe I'm 250 pounds. Like, this is so much weight. And I even remember going in for the C-section because my belly was already laying over my thighs. They had to tape my belly to my shoulders to be able to do the incision for Jonathan. And I remember laying there on the C-section table going like, they are taping your body to another piece of your body to have access to the previous incision line. And there was so much shame attached to that at the time. And I didn't have any healthy way or know how to do that. And as the kids got older, I remember, Nathan wanting to ride his bike, or Ted, and Ted was super active, being in the military, and that was something he kept up, and he wanted a wife, and his weight had fluctuated like our entire marriage as well. But there was a point, we were living in Colorado, had the 3 boys, and he wanted his wife to be a playmate with him. Like, he wanted me to go ride a bike with him. And I was terrified to ride a bike with. I hadn't ridden a bike since I was 13 years old because I had drank Hawaiian Punch and Cool Ranch Doritos and went on a bike ride with my dad in Huntington Beach and threw up on Ettinger Avenue, Hawaiian Punch and Cool Ranch Doritos.
Legend has it, it's still there to this day.
And so in my mind, riding a bike equated to you're going to throw up.
Throw your guts up, yeah.
And so I had made this story so big. Like, I still to this day cannot stand the smell of Cool Ranch Doritos. Benjamin had some on this road trip. I'm like, no. That smell.
Wait till we go to Not Joplin.
That smell got me so quick. I have not drank Hawaiian Punch since that day. I have ridden a bike. And so my husband surprised me with a beach cruiser. I was furious. I actually have posted this picture before because we had Benjamin. And if you see how heavy I was, Benjamin was sitting on the seat and I was at a weight that was literally like smashing my 18-month-old while riding this beach cruiser.
He was sitting on the back side of the seat.
Yeah, he had the little, like, we installed the little seat behind me.
Yeah.
And poor Benjamin, that child is tolerated so much. As my husband just wanted somebody to ride a bike with him. And I was like, okay, like, I'll ride a bike with you. So he got me this pink beach cruiser. And I was so mad. Oh my God. I was so mad. And then he wanted to watch me try to ride it because, me not being good at things. I was like, no, you are not watching me ride. Like, let me do it by myself.
Guess what you're getting for your 50th birthday?
You're getting me a pink beach cruiser.
Guess you'll have to wait another year. Find out.
Better have
Carry on.
bells. And so I did it. And then there was this mindset shift of he was going to a local gym. We were living in Fruita at the time. And he invited me to a spin class. And I'm like, gosh, I really want to connect with my husband. Story I told myself is, I just want to go and not die. I just want to go. And they had childcare. So it was like, because I had 6 children at the time. And I'm like, okay, I will go ride a bike and hope not to die, but at least it's a break for my children. And I didn't die. And that's where the next piece of, when you're like, what was the pivotal piece? It was then. And so that's when one fell in love with spin because there was music and I could sing.
Right.
Honestly. That's just really, you give me something I can sing.
Hey, move your body and sing. You're in. I'm in.
And this is where the unhealthy habits and the lack of knowledge and education really took root, because there was a group of us all in the same spot, a group of 5 of us that made a friendship and attached ourselves to the lead spin instructor. because she obviously must know more than we did.
I mean, she teaches the class.
She teaches a class. She taught 3 classes a week. And why would she not know more? And so she gave us the best that she had, but it also wasn't complete, right? Like, she was a rec center instructor, but so we just followed what she did. And even if it wasn't healthy or appropriate, it didn't matter. We were all getting results and we were all doing it together. And because if good is great, then more is better.
Yeah. I'm picking up on the patterns here.
Yeah, if you're not watching the video of me pointing to myself as good as great, more is better.
Yeah.
Who started 2-a-days? Oh, I did. Who said, let's run a half marathon? This would be great because I had girlfriends, which I had never been popular or been part of a girl group. Oh, I did.
Was that during the period of time where you put the picture that you sent yesterday?
Yeah.
You and Laura?
Uh-huh.
Was that during that was during the running phase?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You sure had the shades for it, brother. I can tell you that much.
Is that what you noticed?
Oh, that's what I noticed. Y'all all were looking super fly. Y'all were looking like Blade Runner, baby. Had them joints on, like y'all were doing what do they call them? Pit Vipers before Pit Vipers were cool. All right. Even had your kids in them.
Yeah. That was Nathan in that photo.
Yeah.
2012. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, when I thought
we were doing very different things in 2012.
We were doing very different things in 2012. And when I thought my, 35-minute 5K was slow. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought in that picture, that my 35-minute 5K was slow.
Kudos.
All that to say is the insecurity grew. Yeah. So as I got, our instructor had surgery. And so then as my physique was changing and then I had all this skin because I lost, I don't know, 60, 70 pounds, 80 pounds. I can't even remember.
This was after you had all your kids and then adopted the other 3. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So 35.
Okay.
I 30, right around 35. Because I remember I got this tattoo. This was the first tattoo I had gotten in like 18 years. And it was at that time. And
you were at like a new low weight?
Getting there. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was getting there.
And that's when you got the mommy makeover at 35?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Right after that, 35, 36. And so I got down to 185, went to her plastic surgeon, and 2 of my friends, me and my other friend, we went same surgeon, did the same thing. And then it was...
which was a tummy tuck and breast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because there was no way you could not, for as loose as my skin was nursing 3 kids, mm-hmm. There's no level of implant. It would not have been appropriate. Like,
gravity still do what gravity do.
If you like the story of my skin being pregnant with Jonathan, literally when I got down to 185, there was you've seen it on TikTok, like an entire flap of skin that laid all the way onto my thighs. Right. And the same was with my breasts. Like they were pancakes. Like there was it was not attractive. You could have thrown them over your shoulder, tied them in a knot like a bulldog. Like, do your ears hang low? It was like, do your boobs hang low? Do they wobble to and fro? The answer was yes. The answer was so.
This is the most relatable part of the podcast. Okay. I just wanted everybody to know. Point that out.
But here's what happened is that I thought that surgery would make me confident in my body. And it did not. It magnified the insecurity because I had this rocking body that I didn't believe I earned, and I was seen. And that was, there was no hiding it.
Right.
Like it was beautiful.
We didn't respect it either, right? We just had that conversation on the
GLP Confessions.
On the GLP podcast that we do for our school community, that not respecting it, in that story is still very loud and the same, and now it's even magnified, and I didn't earn this, but yet here it is. Now what do I do with it?
And also, I don't know if this is true for other people, but like when you get new boobs, everybody wants to see them. Like everybody wants to see them. Like they're like a commodity, like a new car.
I've never had new boobs, so I'll let you know. Okay, was this around the time the picture with the cake?
Yes. I thought about that as I put this tank top on this morning. I was like, oh, we're getting similar. Like I can see how we're coming back to recreating that moment. The cake will look so much better this time, by the way.
Okay, so the picture with the cake. What is this around the similar time as boobs on a stick?
Yes.
Okay, tell the boobs on a stick story.
Okay, so prior to surgery, while I was in this weight loss journey of overtraining, underfueling, and a story that literally the Hallmark Channel would have loved. Actually, probably true crime would be more accurate of like the way that I talk to myself, is that while I was working my ass off, 2 days, all of that, 6 kids, and husband in the oil field, there was a woman that I would watch who came to the gym in full makeup, long brown hair, very thin, and walking the track with her friend with coffee in her hand. And I named her Boobs on a Stick. Boobs on a stick, because how dare she enjoy her life and her cup of coffee and friendship and have a body like that, just walk the track. How dare she?
How dare you be out here enjoying your life as a moderately fit individual
with makeup? I don't even know her name. I feel so horrible about this. Like, I'd apologize to. This is my second public apology to her, whatever her name is.
The way God works in your life, she's going to be one of our clients at some point.
Likely.
Yeah.
So because there was windows looking through this workout room into the track. And so as I'm dying and sweating, and punishing myself to have the body I want, she's drinking coffee with her friends with beautiful lipstick. And the story was so loud, like the vitriol to this poor woman who was either paid for or gifted boobs on a stick. Living a much better life than I was.
They provided the boobs, she provided the stick.
Yeah. So that was around the same time. So you could hear how loud it all was. Right. So post-surgery, knowing there was no way to sustain that. My story was not straight to sustain that. And so I realized that the group that I was in wasn't healthy. I knew that. I know enough now to know this isn't how I want to